what do you miss most? And I don't know if this was true or not. You and I talked about it, but when you left college, there was some frustration when you left at that point with where college basketball was, right? And that was, what are we, 6 years in? It's probably gotten worse. I would, and I hate to use that term worse because, you know, in some areas, I think it's going to get better. And we kind of put this kind of broad term with it, that college basketball is bad and AAU coaches are bad. We know that's not true. We know there's a lot of great AAU coaches and there's a lot of really good people in college basketball. But why did you, I guess, leave or become, maybe leave isn't the right word. Why did you become very frustrated with where college basketball had gone at that point?
Yeah, Jeff, I don't know if I was necessarily frustrated with college basketball. I mean, I loved my time in college. I think there's this perception, you know, that I didn't want to recruit, and that couldn't be anything further than the truth. Recruiting is challenging for everybody, you know what I mean? And it's not something that everybody's going to say, oh, it's the best part of the job. I think as you get older, the thing I love is the game of basketball. And I always, my whole entire career, had intrigue with the NBA. And I've always had intrigue of just like focusing on basketball. And I think my biggest frustration at the time with college basketball for me was we would get to the end of the season and hopefully you're playing deep into March. But if you're not and the season ends, we really weren't doing anything with our guys at all from, you know, March all the way till the end of August, you know, when school started back up, and they would lift weights and do those things. And I just felt like there was more that, you know, as a coach in college we could do. Now, obviously those rules have changed since then and things have been implemented where guys can do more with their teams on a year-round basis. But I think that was, I didn't like that, you know what I mean? And I think for some of it, you know, for me, it was just the idea of just basketball all the time. And I enjoyed that part of it. And I missed, you know, some of that and a lot of it, to be honest. Not so much we needed to practice all the time, but ways to help guys get better. And I think you look as a coach, you know, when the coaching profession is so demanding, you really want to be able to do things you really love doing. But I didn't really have a problem with college basketball per se, or have a problem with recruiting. I think it was just more the fact that I love the game and a chance to go to the highest level, chance to learn, a chance to grow. Obviously love Florida, my relationship with these guys and Jeremy Foley. So that had to be right for me. But I've always had an intrigue. I never felt like I got to get out of college. You know, if I would have stayed at Florida, I think I would have been very, very happy. I think in any job, nothing's perfect all the way around. It's just not reality. But I enjoyed my time in college and have really enjoyed my time in the NBA.
Yeah, I bet you don't miss I mean, when I talk to Brad Stevens, he says he'll look for people to call now. Like his phone's just not ringing very much. And he doesn't miss, I guess, the grind of the recruiting calls and having to go cross country just to be seen by a 17-year-old kid. Like that's got to get old, right?
I think the hard part for me in recruiting, which I did not necessarily love about it, was I mean, we were talking earlier about some incredible stories and incredible people. I mean, even players that we didn't get, you know, just getting a chance to meet people and delve into those situations. Where I had a problem was the wasting of time that on decisions I made to continue to recruit somebody that we probably just didn't have a chance to get. And I blame myself more than anybody else, but I also think one of the things that can help in recruiting, and I think over time, the relationships that get developed, I always love when someone said to me, hey, Billy, go ahead. If you want to recruit him, try, but you're not getting him at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Okay, great. You know, I'm going to move in a different direction, but I think about the amount of times and trips, like this whole pandemic, what's going on right now. I think about the amount of time I invested even in recruiting, and it was a really, really, really good process, but a young man chose a different school. Yeah. I've always said this about recruiting. There's no prizes for second place. You don't get some kind of, you know, reward for trying hard. Either you get the guy or you don't get the guy. But you think about all the time away from your family, away from your players, things that you could be doing, but that's part of the job too. I've always enjoyed when people have been straight up and say, listen, this is probably going to be a really, really hard get. Now, if you want to keep trying and you can prove that you know this is the right place for me, then go ahead. But I'm just being straight up to let you know that it's probably you're fourth or fifth, on my list, and it's going to be really hard to get to number one.